Dan Kamalic. Did I pronounce it correctly?
Yes.
Good.
We say Kamalic, but they changed the pronunciations from Croatia.
Croatia.
From Croatia.
Good. International cast this time.
Yes.
Truly. Is a newly converted tenor from baritone and singing two major roles. The leading tenor role in the Pagliacci, Cagno.
Yes.
And in Gianni Schicchi, they remind me the name.
Rinuccio.
Rinuccio, that's right. And well, first of all, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Welcome to the company, and welcome as a tenor to the company.
Thank you.
Now, then, first, how did it happen that you switched? You worked with us before, and we had you as a baritone. What happened?
Well, the main thing that happened is when I did Fledermaus, which is one of those roles that can go either way. I played the recording for my teacher at the time, and he listened to it, and he said, "It's very good, but I think you're a tenor." And he said, "Let me, I have my friend who's a coach is going to listen to it, and I'm going to ask him what he thinks." And he came back and he said, "Yeah, he thinks you're a tenor too, so let's start working on these things." So we started working on some more real tenor repertoire, but it was really more lyric tenor or lighter lyric tenor. Yeah. And then I began working with another teacher whose name is Yegishi Manoucharian, and he's a lyric tenor, and he heard me in a production I did with Opera Boston, and he said, "I think I can help you." And I started working with him, and it became obvious that the voice was really a lyrical, dramatic tenor. Yeah. And so then we began working on some heavier repertoire, and I auditioned for you with this, and
we are delighted to have you here as a tenor.
Thank you.
And I think you will be a great star of the show. You're carrying yourself very well. And so tell me a little bit about acting background. You also act a lot, and I know that you ran some a company of your own, and just give us a little bit of
I was the resident stage director for a children's opera company called Young Opera Company of New England. I have been too busy lately to really work with them a lot lately, but they are they do a number of productions every year, fairly large scale for a children's company. Brundabar was a big one that I directed with them, and they're based in Andover, Massachusetts. A wonderful group of kids, very excited about classical music, which is not really something you see that often now.
Coming from these days, right? That's
exactly, yeah.
All right, so your take at the role of Cagno in Pagliacci. It's a very dramatic role, certainly one of the tenor roles in the repertoire. Beautiful aria. End of the first act. Your take at the character, the role, at the part as a vocal part?
Well, I think that really coming from, I wanted to just say, related to what you asked before, my background, I started really doing straight acting, and then I moved into musical theater, and then I moved into opera from there. So when I look at any role in opera, I think of it first from an actor's perspective, and this is one of the best that I've ever done.
There's one of the great singers at the Metropolitan Opera who had a background in some sports. Was he a football player?
Oh yeah, that's
so he must look
Morris Robinson.
He must look at the opera role as a sports event. No, I'm joking. But the point being, please continue. But you came from a completely different area. You did not start as a vocal voice major at first. You came from the theatrical part.
I look at it, when I look at the role of Cagno, I see a much more fully well-rounded character than similar Verismo operas of the era. Many of the Puccini operas, which I love also, very dramatic, very exciting character, but nobody is really fully fleshed out and fully developed. And whereas in Pagliacci, you look at all of the roles, and they all have, nobody's the clear villain, nobody is the clear hero. Everybody has both good and bad, and that's something that Andy, the director, really brings out.
It's perhaps typical for life that nobody is really fully villain. We have villain deeds, but not necessarily. Okay, and then your partners in crime, so to speak, in terms of production, Jurate Svedajte, a great soprano, and Chad
Chad Carl.
Chad Carl, thank you, who is a baritone, who is sort of co-conspirator in the whole thing. Well, maybe you can give us just a brief the outline of the opera.
Sure.
2 sentences.
Sure. Briefly, it's the typical play within a play opera that a lot of people may be familiar with, except it's very realistic and very dark in its ending and its progression. Basically, it's a traveling troupe of comedians, commedia dell'arte clowns, and they are performing a comedy for this little tiny town. It turns out that the wife of the main clown, who is the organizer of the troupe, is having an affair with a local townsman, and the character played by Chad Carl, another clown, is jealous of her. He wants to be with her.
Is being transformed into stage, and then real life takes over the stage eventually.
Yes, the whole plot that I've just said is where the clown played by Chad and the clown played by me, this is exactly what's happening in both real life and in the play of the Commedia dell'arte that you will see in the second act.
They copy, the situation is the same, but the tail end is different.
Yes.
And basically the whole point is that the theater is theater, but life is life, and the scores are settled a little bit differently.
Well, there's an aria in the first act that says exactly that, un tal gioco.
All right. And then Gianni Schicchi.
Gianni Schicchi is something completely different.
Right.
The plot of Gianni Schicchi is that there's a family whose...
It's in reverse. The death is first.
The death is first, exactly.
and everything sort of unravels from there, and isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. The family needs to have... They are hoping to receive this great inheritance. They don't receive it, and so Gianni Schicchi, the local clever man, helps them to forge a will.
Right. Except he's smarter than all of them. He secures the happiness of his daughter and so forth.
And her boyfriend, who is played by me. Yeah.
There you go. So,
but they're Puccini's typical romantic couple, but they're the absurd comic caricature of like Mimi and Rodolfo. This is the comic version of Mimi and Rodolfo, if you can even imagine that.
Right. I mean, there must be a romantic couple in every opera, otherwise we wouldn't have an opera, so be it. But it is, in a way, interestingly enough, a reverse of events and also a reverse of point of view, where Pagliacci goes from dark to darker.
Yes.
In this one, it actually
goes from dark to lighter.
Well, or from light to light. In a way, it takes that seriously.
That's true.
You know?
It's comic at the beginning.
It's interesting how we can look at the, principally a natural event, which is death, and twist it and turn it in such a different way. You know, it's very, very interesting.
Well, I think that's a testament to Puccini's great creative genius, that he could write these incredibly dramatic things like La Bohème, and then turn around, and his only comedy is brilliant. Yeah. It's brilliant comedy.
Very cool, very cool. Well, thank you very much. I'm looking forward to the rest of the production time with you and with the rest of the cast. Thank you very much.
Definitely. Thank you, Adrian.